Today we're tying bucktails using a banana head jig. Stay tuned. So good morning. Today in the vise I'm going to tie some banana head jigs. Like I've mentioned in a few other videos, I've been messing around, just trying to airbrush some patterns, playing with some paint. I grabbed some heads that I had that were extra just as I was playing with different colors, seeing how they look. As an example, the head that we're going to tie on today is a banana head. It's a 1/4 ounce chartreuse, pink and purple. I'm glad I do test these a little bit. I'm not sure how well this comes across on the camera, but the pink paint kind of looks orangey to me. If I hold it up to pink, it does look pinkish. Of course, has to do with the way that paint layers and the way you see it. So you know, it's good for me to test those things out, just to see how that works. Instead of using the pink that I used, maybe I'll go with an opaque pink, something that would be a little bit less translucent. But it does give us some material today where we can do some tying. So I lock this in my vise as normal. Because of the shape of this head, it is a little bit different on how we apply the hair. So I will go with my size A. We're going to go with a purple thread today. This is size A, it's Pac Bay. I use this thread a lot. Good Rod is typically the thread I use most often, but as I run out of colors, the Pac Bay and these larger spools is what I really like using. It's really good colors, really nice thread, and the feel to me is identical to using the Good Rod size A rod wrapping thread. So, but we lock on our thread right behind the ball on the jig head with a few wraps towards the bend of the hook and then a few wraps back to lock it in place. This jig will have a couple colors. I'm going to start with purple because the colors on this, chartreuse, pink, with a little bit of purple towards the end here. Can you still see that in shot? I have to turn my vise around so the jig is upside down. And you take a pinch that's about 1/4 of what you would guess for a nice uniform tail. Restack as normal. Just taking out the longer fibers and placing them back in the pinch. And I will just bring this up just for a second. We're going to measure this so the tail extends the length of the body past the bend of the hook, which on my vise is roughly this 4th marking that I have right on top of my jaws. Just to the outside edge of that is what I'm aiming for. Alright, so now I can rotate my jaws down, and as normal I switch hands, keep my left hand pinch very tight, and I trim it as normal. A little bit difficult with a 1/4 jig to get my giant sausage fingers in there, but there's 3 wraps towards the bend of the hook and a couple wraps back towards the eye of the hook. And I'm slightly to this inside. The hairs are falling where I want them to, but on this side I would like them to extend just slightly over the center. So I'm adding a little bit of pressure, forcing the hairs down, but adding pressure directly towards the very center of this hook shank. If I could envision the middle of that hook shank, that's what I'm pushing towards. And it just helps the hairs just roll just slightly without loosening your collar. So I'm happy with that. It's equal on both sides. Now I can turn it to the first side that I want to add color to. And I'm going with a medium pink. I do have a few different pinks. I have a baby pink here, which is much lighter. Which is also a nice color. It's a nice color for the belly, but I'm going with this medium, kind of a fluorescent pink. And again, take a pinch for about 1/4 of what you would need. We remove the fibers from the butt end, and then I switch my grip and restack. And again, measure this along with the purple. Once you're happy, switch your grip and keep that left hand pinch tight. I'm just going to lay it right down the side. And again, I had to, you might have seen there, I did adjust my pinch just slightly. It's an awkward head to tie on, especially in this 1/4 ounce size. If it was a little bit bigger, it'd be easier just to get your big fingers around there. Just press that into place, just so it's on that side of the jig, nice and centered. I can turn my vise now so I have access to the other side. Do the same thing. I'm going to take a pinch of that pink. Restack as needed. And then we'll measure. Keep this left hand tight. Trim that and do my best. I'm keeping that pinch tight, but as you could see, I did move. I bent my fingers in a way that did open up the end. Couple wraps towards the bend of the hook, couple wraps towards the head, just to hold it in place. And now I can again add pressure to those hairs, with the pressure going to the direct center of the hook shank. If you put your pressure left or right, the hairs are going to not only roll in that direction, but they have the tendency to twist. So now they're out of alignment, they're not parallel to the hook shank itself. That leaves with just a 1/4 here on the top. And this is a flow yellow. Where is my fluorescent yellow? So, and that's what we're going to add to the bottom. And I'm not tying any particular pattern right now. It's mostly, I want to see how these jigs look with hair on them. Like I said, I've just been playing with airbrush, trying out different color combinations. This example, I wanted to see what the colors look like layered on top of each other. And as I mentioned, it appears to me that the pink looks a little bit orangey with that fluorescent yellow underneath. So I'm going to have to adjust how I paint that. You know, I could add a layer of white first perhaps and then add the pink. I could go with an opaque pink, something that's a little bit less translucent, but we'll see. I'm just goofing around. These are not necessarily jigs that I will sell. At this point I'm just doing something fun, and I'll fish with these. You know, you never know, maybe I'll catch a PB and it'll be a new color that I offer. So again, just measuring this with the rest of the pinch. Switch my grip one last time. Keep that tight. I could add tinsel and flash this, but I'm not really doing anything that drastic right now. And again, just adding a little bit of pressure to get those hairs just to go and even out on both sides the way I want it. So I walk my thread towards the bend of the hook just to clean up that collar, and then I can walk it the other way. I'm turning my vise just to look at the collar from different angles. I don't tie these all that often. With this size head, I might go with a smaller thread. If I go with a 2/0 thread, it'll just give me a little bit cleaner collar. I'm sure everybody watching will say this jig looks just fine. I think the collar looks a little bulky. For the type of jig this is and where you're tying the hair onto, it will naturally look bulky. So if I do another one of these, a 1/4 ounce, if I had a bigger head, I don't think my thread would be that much of a concern to me. But if I do more of these 1/4 ounce heads, I will try it with a 2/0 thread, or I'll dip into my supply and look at some of my fly tying threads and maybe go with a flat thread, which will just give you a little bit cleaner collar. So let's finish this off with some lacquer-based head cement, and then we'll take a look at this. The head cement is thin to the point where it does saturate the threads nicely. And let's turn this off. What do you think? We got purple, pink, and fluorescent yellow. Our head is a fluorescent yellow with pink and purple. I might play around with this pattern a little bit more. I might fish with it. Might think about adding some flash, some tinsel or something. And like I said, maybe going with a little bit thinner thread or a flat thread. Both of those might be good ideas to try, and just in my eyes tone down that profile of that collar just a little bit. So it's not a bad looking jig. It's that collar sticks out to me though. That's how all artists are, right? If you knit, or if you're a painter, or you build something, you're a craftsman, you know where the mistake is, and that's what you always see when you look at it, right? So I'll play around with those some more. We'll see what we can come up with. If it's kind of neat, or if I fish with this and it actually works pretty well, I might do some more of these. So I think that'll do it for us today. As always, like and subscribe so you don't miss any new content. Add some comments down below. Let me know what you think about the size of my collar on this one and the color combination. Feel free to share any of our videos. It does increase awareness of the channel. And until next time, guys, keep tying tight lines.